a wrap and a novation are a little more exotic strategy that you can employ inside of a seller carry. But I don't really like them, so I definitely don't want to dig into them too much. If that is something you're interested in learning more about, you can reach out to me directly afterwards or send us an email, shoot us a DM. We can set up a time to chat. So when it comes to optimizing your outcomes when selling your house, you want to really look at what's your ideal outcome. And we talked about that last week. If you missed it, check out the recording. But you want to get really clear on what's the ideal outcome that you're looking for. When do you want it to happen? It being the closing or the cash distribution or both. When do you want them to happen? What do you need to do to make them happen? And who do you need to make it happen? That's going to depend a lot on the type of sale that you select. That's why we're going to spend some time on the different types of sales. Do you have the time to make the ideal outcome happen? And do you have the resources and the relationships to make it happen? All of these things are going to play into what team do you want to have? Who do you need on your team to execute the process? But they'll also play a role in which type of sales strategy do you want to employ for yourself? Once you're aware of those things, you can start to really plan and execute on how to get through the process. Who are the right people to help you? Not every agent is the right agent for you to use for every situation. I will say, tooting our own horn a little bit, we are very good at all of these strategies. There are some people who are better at a single strategy, but I don't really know anybody who's better at executing all of them. I know some fantastic agents. I often refer people to them when they're a perfect fit for something. But not all agents know how to execute these strategies, have the teams, the resources to execute them. So when you pick one that's important to you, make sure that the agent has experience with these. So you want to just, when you're looking at the outcomes that you want to have, do you want to sell your house first and buy new? Let's assume that it's a decent house in a decent neighborhood, and you're just looking for a bigger place as an example. There's no real motivation. There's no real distress anywhere. There's no real time pressure. You're just kind of a normal transaction. What usually happens is you're going to sell your house, then buy the new house, oftentimes because people want the money from their current house to use as the down payment on the new house. So you're going to sell a house and then buy new. Talk about that process a little bit. Let's say you want to have cash and be moved inside of 90 to 120 days. In that time frame with that house, you can do it with just a basic team. There's nothing super exotic around that. You need to find a buyer. You need to be a seller. Probably you want to have an agent and a lender involved to help out with the process, because somebody's probably going to need financing, you and the buyer or both. So you'll be communicating with those guys, and then an agent to help make sure everything is dialed in. Do you need movers as well to help out? Do you have time? Yeah, you can do that in that time frame. Pretty easy, especially in a market like now. If you've got a decent house in Seattle that's priced decently, getting to cash inside of 90, 120 days is easy. 60 is not really a stretch. 30, tough. So somewhere in between 30 and 60, it starts to get a little tight to do it. 120 days, plenty of time. Unless you are really unicorn hunting. If you're unicorn hunting, it may take a little bit more time. And then and when I say unicorn hunting, if you're really trying to find a unique property, or if you have a really unique property that you got to find a very specific buyer for, that can take a little bit more time. And then lastly, do you have the resources? Do you have the money and the relationships to make whatever needs to happen as you're going through that process? Ideally, it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy, and you shouldn't need a lot of resources from money or relationships, because you're not doing a ton of work in this situation. You're not doing you don't need a bunch of cash to do improvements or anything like that. It's a pretty easy deal on what you're trying to do. So there should only be a couple potential hurdles that can show up. You shouldn't need a huge team to execute that strategy.